Hi everybody, it's Miss Karen from the Hancock Town Library with another science experiment for you. This one is very simple and it's sort of a spooky ghost egg experiment or a rubber egg experiment. They're called both things if you happen to look online. So it's very simple. You take a raw egg, uncooked raw egg, you have a jar or a glass and white vinegar. So what I do is I gently place the egg in the jar. We don't want to break it. And I pour the vinegar so that it completely covers the egg. And the egg is completely submerged. Now, if you notice, there's some little air bubbles surrounding the egg. And an eggshell is made out of calcium carbonate. And the vinegar that we just put in is an acid, like carbon dioxide. And so what the vinegar does to the hard eggshell is dissolve it over time. It dissolves the calcium carbonate. You can see the bubbles. That means it's working on it. It's starting to dissolve the egg. So the hardest part of this experiment is just waiting, because usually this takes a while but this eggshell is going to become completely gone in a couple days, maybe even 24 hours. So after a few days, I did this experiment 3 days ago. And I used 2 eggs just because I felt like it. So what I did is exactly what I showed you. I put the raw eggs in the vinegar, and I saw the bubbles and I checked it every day, and at some point I saw there was no more shell, and at the top I could see some brown scummy stuff, and that's part of the egg shell that had dissolved. So this is the second part of the experiment that you should do a couple days after you leave the egg in the vinegar. So for this part of the experiment, it's a little messy. You could use gloves, which is actually probably a good idea. You take the egg out. Wow. I don't know if you can tell, but it's very rubbery looking. So they say to rinse it in the sink, but I'm going to just rinse it in this bowl with water so I don't have to get up and rinse it. So I just put some water in it. You can rinse it under the sink. Now keep in mind these are still raw eggs, so if you squeeze it too tight or drop it, what's going to happen? It's going to break just like a regular raw egg. So this is what the eggs look like after they've been sitting in vinegar. The hard eggshell is completely gone. It's squishy, and supposedly it bounces. I can very delicately bounce it. If I were to really bounce it from a high distance, it would break, and I don't want to do that. So it has a bouncy, it almost feels like one of those bouncy balls you buy. Now, also I have a flashlight. So you can do this with a regular flashlight. If you had a black light, special light, it really glows. So if you look, the egg is glowing and it's translucent. So I don't know if you've seen a regular egg. The hard shell is on the outside, and there's a very thin membrane that covers the rest of the egg. So all we have here left is the thin membrane. But if you look, not only does the egg kind of glow, you can kind of see the yolk inside. Let me check and see if you can see this one better. There's like a little shadow in there, and it's like the yolk. So these are the magic glowy spooky eggs, or the bouncy eggs. Now, in some of the experiments I've seen with these, they bounced it and experimented with how hard they could bounce it before it broke. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to make a big mess, but they're very squishy, like a bouncy ball, and kind of spooky. So I'm going to shut the light off just to see how much they glow. kind of cool. So you can try this at home. I recommend absolutely don't try to eat these eggs after they've been sitting in the vinegar. Just throw them out or show your friends, and wash your hands really well afterwards because they are raw eggs. So thank you for stopping in for this experiment. I'll see you next time. Thanks.